Hi, my name's Dr. Vicky Cleak and I'm a consultant general adult psychiatrist with a special interest in adult ADHD. And today's module is about ADHD and friendships. I hope you find it useful. This video is for women who have recently received a diagnosis of ADHD and are adjusting to it. It is best used alongside my free to download A Woman's Guide to ADHD Mastery. So let's crack on and get into it. So having a diagnosis of ADHD can significantly impact on your relationships, and that's particularly the case if you are a girl or an adult female. And that's because compared with boys, women and girls have much more complex social relationships that involve a lot of things such as taking turns, listening, that those with ADHD might find more challenging. And of course, if you have difficulties in your relationships, this can lead to you being excluded from your peer group, which can have major effects on your self-esteem. So we know that to have good friendships, you need to be good at a number of tasks within that, including being able to set boundaries, being able to support your friends, take turns, show affection in a way that doesn't make the other person uncomfortable. You have to be able to show some level of vulnerability so that your relationships can deepen and share toys when you're a child, but also share experiences as you get older. And there needs to be some element of predictability so that if you say you're going to do something, you stick with it, that you can be relied on. Those are the sort of things that make friendships that can endure. Now, if we go back to the core features of ADHD, which include difficulty in regulating your attention and your emotions, having a poor working memory, being disorganized, easily distracted, having problems regulating your actions, being more impulsive, these can all have a negative impact on your friendships. Although people with ADHD are often really good at making friends, they often struggle to keep them due to all of these difficulties that are commonly experienced by those with ADHD. Those with ADHD are often slightly more emotionally and a little bit more emotionally immature compared with their peer group. And that difference can often become more apparent over time as other children develop and meet their milestones in their ability to wait their turn, to stop and think before saying upsetting things to others, and controlling their emotions so they don't lose their temper or get upset easily. So these things can become more apparent as the child moves from primary school through to secondary school. And of course, then the consequences can become bigger, particularly as your peer group becomes more important and takes over the primacy, if you like, of your life from your parents and your family. Peers can feel quite alienated by children that act dangerously, that get into trouble, that talk over them, that are sore losers, that hit out and get angry at them, who are more overactive and impulsive. Those children are much less likely to get invited to birthday parties. And I've seen that in my own female peer group when my children were little, where there was, very overactive, impulsive boy who was constantly getting into trouble within his peer relationships, and it led to him being really excluded and significantly affected his confidence with his own self-esteem, but also the relationship of the mother with the other mothers, who with defensiveness and difficulties in them managing that. Having a poor working memory means that you're more likely to forget your friend's phone number. You're more likely to forget to reply to text or to invitations if you don't immediately do so, or procrastinate over making decisions around that and arrangements. You could be frequently late to meet up as you get older and more responsible for your time management, and so you can miss out on social opportunities. And these sort of behaviours can be viewed really negatively by others as being scatty, blonde, airbrained, flaky and hopeless, and can be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. A tendency to seek novelty and get bored by sameness can also lead a person with ADHD to flip between friendship groups and being labelled a social butterfly. And that means that they don't have real depth or longitudinal, deeper relationships. So children with ADHD often have a number of friendship struggles. They're more likely to be involved or be subject to bullying, overstepping boundaries that are put in by parents or by school or by other friends, have angry outbursts. We talked about being quite unpredictable, both emotionally but also in terms of time management, and more likely to be risk takers, which can be quite off-putting to other children, and of course to other parents if you're planning a party. In adult friendships, those with ADHD who speak before they think can often be seen as being quite tactless, when they are in fact, they feel themselves being quite honest. It's just that they have these impulsive thoughts and they can't keep them inside their head and think about the consequences. They can be quite inconsistent and flaky in terms of making commitments and sticking with them, particularly within the time frames that other people expect. And there's this unreliability, and much more likely to lose touch with friends. I always say it's out of sight, out of mind with those with ADHD. They often don't reply to texts, and then by the time they think about getting around to that, they can feel really embarrassed about replying and feel like too much time has gone by, and that can lead them to lose touch with people. Those with ADHD, in terms of the impulsivity of speech and thought, means that they can end up dominating conversations and taking over, and appear to be not listening to others, either because they're 6 thoughts ahead, or they're distracted by other things going around them, or distracted by internal thoughts and dialogue. And some people with ADHD, because of their energy levels, their ability to stop and start different activities, can really come across also their ability to not stop talking can be perceived as quite exhausting, both physically and emotionally. And this brings to mind many patients I've seen who are married to people who haven't got ADHD, and what tends to happen on holidays or weekends is the person with ADHD has got lots of ideas, lots of plans about what they want to do, and the partner just wants to chill out and do nothing. And again, this is particularly with those people with ADHD who have got physical overactivity symptoms. So in summary, ADHD can significantly affect your friendships throughout your life, and in a negative way. And that negative impact on your self-esteem can and reduction and effect on your support network can really have significant negative impacts on both your mental health, but also on having a support structure at all. So now's the time to reflect, perhaps using the Woman's Guide to ADHD Mastery. Given everything we've talked about, how did and does your ADHD impact on your friendships? Have you lost touch with someone because you've put off responding to texts, or lost their address when you moved, or forgot to let them know what your new address or phone number was? Have you had big falls out with people and found it difficult to repair those because you've held on to anger or upset? And what impact has this had on you, both in terms of how you feel about yourself, but also in terms of how you respond to others. Does it make you more wary and more withdrawn? Have you sought out other people who are very similar to you because they understand your difficulties? Or have you managed it in some other way? I hope you found this discussion about ADHD and friendships useful, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.